Immigration is always in the front and foremost minds of many, many people, and it's kind of come back to us not only in this discussion here, as I'll come back later towards the end of this, about what would be an impact of a regime change in Iran. But also we've seen the Casey report, the grooming gangs. We've seen 25% of or criminals in sexual offences cases only 2 days ago being reported as being connected to illegal migration and non-UK citizens from a non-European base. And we're seeing the impacts on housing and schools across the country. And so the idea that immigration isn't going to go away is a big issue, legal and illegal. So I'm going to just do a quick summary on something. Some of it I hope can be a little bit light-hearted, because I'm going to end up with something that I think is quite worrying towards the end of it. So the first of these is, this is where we are. No, I thought the first one should be where we are on this year. Oh no, I've uploaded the wrong ones then, by the looks of it. I've uploaded it twice. So, okay.
All right.
That's a bit of a shame. Right. So I'm going to talk about this year. Mm-hmm. We have kind of uploaded 16,800 people have come across the channel, and it's a lovely, bright, sunny day. And whilst we might be thinking of going for a glass of wine, or we'd like to have like a beer at the end of the day, there are the entrepreneurs, the people smugglers, who are ready to get their nice cruise liners across the channel with thousands more today.
Or Royal Navy completely unable to stop them.
Unable to stop them. Oral and I just looking at them and welcoming them in. Maybe they got a beer and a glass of wine, or a dandelion and burdock.
Well, I think the lifeboat service is helping them actively.
Yeah. But the consequence of that, 16,800, we're 40% up from last year. We've probably made around 85 million for the people smugglers. It's going to cost us, I think, on the figures that I've put on CMEP this morning, roughly up to around $1 billion already this year. We'll first.
So did you say we made the people smugglers 85 million?
This year, yeah. This year, just alone. It's a good business.
Wow.
You know, if they were floating on the stock market, a lot of people would be buying into them.
Yes.
It's a good
growth industry.
And if you look here, this is since 2018, just on the boats. 167,704 as of last night. You can see the annual cost, and when I do that is 8 billion, just related to them.
Just the boat people.
Just the boat people. And then on the right, you see how much that the people smugglers have made since 2018, and that's a rough estimate between 12,000-15,000 pounds, over $1 billion since 2018. That's why I say good model.
Bloody hell. Nice
little business to be in on there, and I think it's down, isn't it, for the next one, or is it next? No, it is. Yeah, I'll do my link, to be honest, up here.
Okay.
It's much easier. And just as a summary, the boats aren't the only thing.
Oh, no.
Everyone seems to think, okay, it's just a few little guys, and obviously if you're a member of the Labour Party, I think you just turned around and said it's basically all women that are coming across on the boat.
Even though you never see one.
Yeah, even though you very rarely see them. And those figures I'm just building towards the end of this. This is the kind of my latest run on colours and branding to try and pull together a massive number of everything that's occurred. That number, 226,682, are people who've come in on planes, boats, backs of lorries, and other ways of getting into the country. There clearly are those that we miss, but these all come from ONS figures alone. So there are 4 routes, again, since 2018. And that 226,000 is only till March 2025. So you could probably add on another 10 grand on that, because that's what's coming in April, May and June.
So hang on. This is a quarter, is it?
No, this is since 2018.
Yeah, but this is just illegal migrants, is that number?
Yeah, just the illegal migrants that have come in on the boats, planes and trains. And I can see that you've got there how they're coming in on their arrivals. I see the numbers. Actually, that's my mistake. I can see that they should all have an extra digit on them on there. So I'm going to have to redo that. But the big number to look at there is 226,682, plus about another 10,000 since March 2025, who've come into the country. So 167,000 have come over on boats. You've got then another 50,000 since 2018 come on the backs of planes and lorries and other routes as well into the UK. And that creates a huge sum of money to us, as I was pointing out, 8 billion, but a huge sum of money to people smugglers too. And that ignores a separate number of how many people who are here claiming visas and then later on try and change it and say, I want to stay here. That's a different set of figures. So 226,000 illegals since 2018. One of the bits of research I'm doing is going all the way back to 2000, just on asylum seekers. It's really, really difficult because the government doesn't produce the numbers of how many are illegals. But I've got around 1.2 million asylum seekers since 2000. So that'll be out there. Now, I'm going to say, okay, people might think that's pretty okay numbers. 226,000, what's that? The size of Southampton, Winchester, Eastleigh, and pretty much some of the, and Portsmouth.
Just a city.
Just a couple of cities, maybe the whole of Greater Manchester. Not Greater Manchester, sorry, Manchester Central, not Greater Manchester. But it's a big number.
Yes,
and
well, yes.
Maybe some of our erstwhile fans who are watching this can come out and find what cities have got 226,000, but that's what's arrived. So imagine building that. Hospitals, schools, infrastructure, water, electricity, gas, then pay benefits of people, for provide jobs, all for that number of people
schools,
since 2018.
Hospitals, GPs, the lot.
A whole lot. So that's what's arrived, and then they're still coming. But I had to love this story. Okay, they're still coming. This picture, someone had a video. I couldn't find the video. I saw it this morning. Someone did actually have a video of this man swimming, and he had a crutch. I mean, what did he do? Jog past the French police who were apparently on the beaches. He quickly rushed around. Did he then get into the water and identify?
Well, he was planning to swim it the whole way.
Well, no. He's got into that boat and he had a crutch. He's got a crutch. So he was on the beach with his crutch, and he got past the French police on a crutch. Then got into the water.
I mean, that's silly. The NHS will provide him one the moment he turns up.
But I thought, did he identify as a submarine and use the crutch as a kind of water just to get to the boat to evade the police? Bloop, bloop. I've seen the cartoon. But this is a kind of level of joke that we've got. French police are out there. They say that they're doing a job. They've got 800 million, I think, is so far that we've given them in the last 10, 15 years.
Well, then why would they stop it?
Yeah, that's right. And we're paying their police from ours as well. So I just thought to myself, that's a bit of comedy sketch, but it's not really funny. But apparently, Keir Starmer said he'd stop the gangs because he's now really worried about it. And allegedly, Keir is really worried about it. I was out on Tuesday night in London having conversations with some former Labour spads. I love the fact they're former Labour spads already. They came in, they talked about the ECHR, how they want to change it, and that Keir is really concerned about it. And I asked them, why is Keir Starmer really concerned about it when he's never really been in there in the past? And it's because of that, obviously. The red wall collapse without radical action to stop small boats.
Yeah, they fear it for votes and loss of their own power, just as the Tories did. Never out of the genuine injustice or principle.
Absolutely. That's crucial. It's not about the fact. And I just, look, there's some of the images that I'm not finding that particular funny. I'm just looking in that boat, and again, I want to get, was it Darren Jones who was on Question Time?
Question Time.
Who said it there. I wanted to have a look at that picture. And if he can,
was he the one who said that there were overwhelmingly women and children?
Yeah, I just want to look in that picture and see. There's a lot of children in there, huge number of children in there. All those at the back,
30-year-old children.
Yeah, all those at the back are going to claim that they're under the age of 18. And I got some really fun statistics on that I'm bringing. I might show you guys just as a sample to see whether you like the model that I'm using in the imagery at the back end of it. But again, they're not really doing it out of the fact that they're concerned about us or the country. They're concerned about losing their seats now. And then I just found this one. I just online Mike Tapp. Right. Anyone who sees Mike Tapp, he hates Reform, the Conservative Party. And then he's produced this. Play. Look at him. What a man.
We're facing a national security crisis. The Tory open borders mean the smuggling gangs are mocking us. We would not accept thousands barging through the barriers at Heathrow, and we will not accept illegal entries by sea. The public are sick of it, we are sick of it. And you're quite rightly asking, what have we done? And what more can we do?
Right, so I'm going to stop there. This is a Labour MP for Dover.
This is an interesting tone shift.
Yes, very interesting. Everything that I have said, I've done videos like that, of which I've been far right and extremist, and I'm just wondering whether Hope Not Hate are actually going to now put
Well,
it.
it's not far right when they do it.
Yeah, or whether Prevent UK, because only recently they've said that anyone who's concerned about mass immigration are now terrorists, or whether they're going to say Mike is a terrorist.
I mean, if they're just saying the things that we were saying 5 years ago, why don't they just listen to us now and get a jump on the next 5 years?
Exactly. I'm fascinated.
And what we're saying is deportation. So
To the despicable criminals organising these crossings, your time is up. Amanj Hassan Zada knows it, the Iranian national living in Preston. He's now inside for 17 years. Ahmed Ebid knows it, 25 years for smuggling thousands from North Africa into Europe. Paul Giglia knows it, Dilshad Shamo, Ali Kadir.
All of
Malak
these, by the
Sotonet,
way,
Keith
all arrested
Beatty. The
and
list
looked at
goes on,
under
and
the
there's more to
Conservatives,
come.
nothing to
Many
do
of
with
these
Labour.
and future
I bet they're all
arrests
Labour
rely
voters,
on
though.
international cooperation, smashing criminal supply chains.
Anyway, so what he goes on to do there, and people, you can have a look at that, he talks about how Labour's doing exactly that, smashing criminal supply chains with our friends in Europe, we're smashing the gangs, but the end of it is interesting. He then says we need to look at the ECHR. I don't want to drag it through because it goes on for three and a half
okay, what does he say
minutes.
about that?
He then says we need to reform the ECHR.
You can't do it. You just have to leave.
Yes.
Well, that is the point. I've been pointing this out for a long time. The ECHR has two distinctive elements to it. The first is the legal basis, of which enables people to be able to claim appeals for asylums, and the first prior to that is whether they can actually pass in the first place. And when you make a claim for indefinite leave to remain, there are three categories. One is you're an asylum seeker, as we know it, under the UN Convention on Refugees. And that's minuscule. It's about 20%, 25%, if that, of all the people who are granted indefinite leave to remain fall under that category. A lot of those who are Ukrainian, for example, fleeing torture. Only about 5% fall under a direct category linking itself to the ECHR. The remaining 70%, 60 to 70%, depending on the year, is discretionary. It's all the rules created by the Home Office to allow people to come in. This individual has a mental health issue that can't be treated in Somalia. We've got the NHS, we can look after him, therefore he stays. That couple there will be abused in Iran for being gay, despite the fact that they've got one of the largest transgender kind of hospitals, haven't they? I understand, in the world. But hey, we'll still let them in under our rules.
I mean, I even heard a case, and I had to check it because I thought, no, that can't be true, but it was, that some guy avoided deportations because his son prefers the chicken nuggets here.
Oh, yeah, that's on the second stage. So then it comes to the ECHR creating legislation which is then interpreted by the lawyers to keep them in. And you can get it. I'm the lawyer, you're the client. He says, my son, he doesn't like chicken McNuggets in Albania. So I will put that forward as one of my arguments to the judge. And the immigration judge will go, do you know what? That actually falls right within the ECHR's principles and right to life and I got it. I don't like chicken McNuggets in Albania either. So they've then extended it. So anyone like themselves who's saying that we can just amend the ECHR to remove those elements are naive, because what's happened now is become part of our common law.
Well, and it's not like we didn't watch David Cameron and the Tories spend 14 years running this exact line. Are we just going to reform?
And that's what I was coming to. You've picked it up. They're running the exact lines. I could be watching a video for Priti Patel or cleverly doing this. I'm not sure we'd have it in generic in the same way now. I think he'd go a lot further. So what I'm seeing in Labour is they're deeply concerned. The Starmer's saying is that these people that I was talking to on Tuesday night, very interesting group of people. There was myself, a presenter for GB News. I won't give you names of which one. Some Labour people, some others who are supporter Labour, all coming around saying they're all recognising this is the massive issue for Labour now. and that they're going to try and deal with it. And then we have...
So if it weren't a threat to their power, then they wouldn't do anything about it. Not out of will.
No, I fundamentally believe that. I fundamentally believe that. And so now we're hearing things like this over the last year. I was looking up, but I wanted to get into the European issues, and I decided that I'm going to next week do a full pod on what we're going to do in Europe, what Europe's doing on this, and the big numbers that they've got and issues on that. But France is saying it wants to try and stop more UK-bound migrants at sea. There is some real, genuinely statistics coming out from the French trying to pop boats and arrest people out there. I know I made fun.
Why is it in the French's interest to do that, though?
It's all to do with the EU deal that we have just succumbed on so many areas, like allowing our fishing grounds to actually be taken over.
I get though why they'd sign the deal. I just don't know why they would then bother to follow through, because it's not like we hold them up. If we
wouldn't. But I think there's some pressure on the French from within the Commission to say, "Oh, come on, you've got to hold up your end for a while.
You've got to look like you're
doing it," and that's what I think. And also, it may well be that they actually are beginning to get a little bit worried about this. So the Interior Minister here in this case say the boats are up 42% compared to 2024. I agree it's fluctuating between 40 and 42% on a daily basis. But what that means at the end of this year is we're looking around 55,000 going to arrive this year. Will be the biggest number ever this year if it can, because of the big months August, end of July, August and September, where we see huge numbers. 2023, I think we had 1,032 in one day, 1,332 in one day. So we've got that. But Telegraph, Labour's migration promises have failed to materialise. That we know for certain, without a doubt. We've not seen anything so far.
Who thought they would?
That's the thing. I know, and I can understand why this guy that I was talking to on Tuesday decided he wanted to get out of trying to work on this and go into, as they do, PR and lobbying themselves. But they recognise it isn't going to work. And then even the FT, which has been a big supporter of Starmer, is saying Labour's small boats policy risks foundering. Its previous success in stopping lorries makes reducing illicit migration harder for the government. But they're not stopping the lorries, they're coming back. That's my research is starting to say that they're recognising that we've become weak on lorries. So I haven't understood why. I've not got any of the people who talk to me from the border force or border agencies trying to indicate why are we checking less. Is it because we've opened our borders a lot more easily after this deal with the EU? That more lorries are now getting through without being checked and stopped. There's no other hold-ups. So now the people smugglers are saying that the lowest end, and I may just say, out of the way that the profit margins work and the way that you can get over, the lowest cost is on the back of a lorry.
Right.
You're just shoved there because there's the highest risk.
Oh.
The highest cost to you is when you're in the back of a car or the back of a caravan.
Right.
Because these people have been sold and you're getting into that back of the caravan with your family and you'll be hidden and you've got a lot of chance of getting through. And the person driving it gets a lot of money out of it as well. The middle ranking is on the boats. So they're shoving you back on the lorries because it's a risk for you. You can die because you get underneath it or you try and get into the back. So people who either can't afford the last element of their debt to the people smugglers will get you to the lorries. And of course, once more, with certain lorry companies and people are bought off. Lorry drivers are bought off. So that does happen. And then we've got this, though. This is what I find very, very interesting. The Americans have got involved. So I asked Samsung to put this up for people so that they can, if they want to, download it themselves and have a look. This is interesting here. It's an organization in the United States, very, very, very pro-mass migration, very opposed to Trump, very opposed to controlling immigration. And it has actually written and provided this research for a UK-EU deal on migration and asylum. Look at the date, June 25. It's all being linked in to the plans that are being discussed in the European Union at the moment. And I'll just run through there. They talk about who crosses the channel and why. Well, we pretty much know that they're crossing. Why it's a lovely life in here compared to where they go. And they're looking at this, designing a readmissions deal and showing solidarity in return for readmissions. And this is what I'm hearing on the grapevine from Europe, is that a deal that's being looked at in seriousness, and I think it's quite a good model from this when I've opened it up. We lack the time to be able to analyse some of the big numbers in it, is that the readmission deal that they're considering is having ports, I don't mean it in ports as in boats ports, port stops, so that illegal migrants from Europe can come into France and possibly even Germany and other countries, if it works this way, and go, hi, I want to go to Britain. And I want to go to Britain because I've got family there, or I've got links there, and I'm really fleeing the terror that's coming out of Iran. Sorry, Iraq, or something. That's another
Any
story,
one of them.
where it comes.
Yeah.
Obviously, Iran's next. And then they're going to turn around and say, I want to go over to Britain, and the French and the Germans will assess them using our rules, allegedly, connected to some European Union framework of assessing whether someone is a genuine asylum seeker. And it will be done in their country. And once the French or the Germans or the Italians agree that person is past the so-called agreed category of asylum, they will be sent to Britain.
I don't love this idea.
No.
Directly.
Terrible.
And in return, allegedly, we will be able to return to France those who've come over on the boats.
I mean, maybe if it's a ratio of 100 to 1 or something.
Yeah, so if there's 100 we leave and then we get one back, that would work. But it doesn't work. Under the Dublin Convention, when we were in the European Union, it was 3 times as many came over to the ones that we returned. So this is a little scheme for the government to say we've got a proper policy in place.
It gives them just enough to say they're doing something.
We're doing something, we're stopping the boats, and effectively works in the hands of those who say you've got a nice clean route to come in, the safe route. We've saved it, and we're going to stop the people smugglers from doing it. Poppycock. Because at the end of the day, there will be someone who says, I want to get over there and might be kicked out. What do you think is going to happen? The people smugglers are going to go, hey, my man, let's come in. Unfortunately, it's a little bit more. No, I don't know why I'm doing a French accent. Maybe it was Macron.
It was very good.
Yeah, but there we go. And they're going to do exactly that. And noticing the time, I'm going to finish on this. And why I'm finishing on this is because I don't want to be the bearer of huge, horrid news. We're looking at 55,000 coming in this year across the channel. We don't get as many as France, I admit. We don't get as many as Germany, and we certainly don't get as many as Italy. We're one of the top 5 countries that get this. But we're getting 55,000 because a year or so ago, the Europol and the Europeans warned that we had about 225,000 come across the western routes, the Mediterranean routes, etc. This is their latest. Surge in irregular migration puts pressure on EU borders.
You saw the term irregular, meaning illegal.
Illegal. Look at the number. 380,000 irregulars were cross-detected in 2023. That's now a jump of what they said was 230 in that year. So there was 150,000 more came in 2023. And what happens is when they arrive across those Mediterranean routes and the West African routes, those means that they head towards us. And they're warning us again that they've got similar numbers for this year. They're seeing huge numbers coming across the Western migration routes into the Mediterranean region, the West Africans in particular. And you can see Guineans, Afghans following Syrians. We've got a lot of Indians coming down now, flying into countries that then can get them in on these routes into Europe. Huge influx of Indians, as we've seen in the American borders when they were crossing the borders. In Mexico, there were large numbers. So if we're going to see 380,000 again, I can estimate that we will get 55, 60,000 again next year. And this concerns me about why we get into a war with Iran. 90 million there. We've just seen what's happening in Syria. We're seeing brutalization and murder, even though we're going to roll out the carpet for the Syrian president, a former terrorist in ISIS. We are going to see more coming over the next few years. And they're going to do this. If their policy works, we won't see them coming across necessarily on the boats in huge numbers. I still think we will. But this time we'll see them just coming straight in from ports or safe ports or safe places in Europe. So I want to just let people see the numbers that are coming in, the threats to us in the future, and the challenges that we will have, but how the politicians in Europe are going to try and pull the wool over our eyes once more when nothing changes except more coming in.
This is a real issue, isn't it? When Brexit happened, that you think, okay, well, we've left the European Union, but none of that matters if the moral, if the British elites and the EU elites are in total moral alignment with one another over what is correct and what should be done, and they all agree that we should be taking these people, even though we don't want them.
They do,
and even though that is dwarfed by the legal issue.
And of course, we've got American organizations drafting up the same ideology and policies for us to kind of incorporate. And I wonder where that money comes from. Is it USAID? Is it the State Department? Is it just these very large organizations that fund huge amounts? I mean, I did some brief research on some of the big NGOs and also the think tanks that support all of this. And they were looking like getting 10-20 million pounds a year. And of course, IOM, the migration part of the UN, gets a budget of 3.8 billion. Give me 3.8 billion, we'd have the whole agenda chose overnight.
If you would like to watch the full uncut version that is also uncensored, head on over to lotuseaters.com to find out more.